Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Indexer Office Hours. Today is the 24th of March, the third month of 2026, and this is Index Office Hours 249. Welcome to all of those who are joining us today. For those who are new to Index Office Hours, this is the town square where Graph ecosystem participants come together and discuss the most important and relevant topics for indexers. As always, we love I was going to say we love competition. we love participation, and so if you'd like to get involved in today's conversation via voice or text, feel free to do so. And we'd love to hear your perspective. And if you're having challenges with your microphone as relates to voice, do let me know and I will get that sorted for you. As a reminder, this session is going to be recorded and put on public channels like YouTube. So just bear that in mind if you are concerned about privacy. It feels like we don't love competition, indeed. And with that, let's get into today's exciting agenda. So as always, I'm going to hand off to Carlos for the regularly scheduled Reaper Watch section.
Welcome, everyone. So this week has been reasonably quiet. This is going to be a quick one. We have only one update on the execution and consensus layer clients, patch version for Prism, some optimization, some bug fixes. Most significantly, it has a critical security update. So if you're running Prism, you should update as soon as possible. And towards something more exciting, on the Graph stack, we have a new minor version released from GraphNode. Version 0.42 is out, and it's packed with a wide variety of things, so I will advise you to check the changelog. Some of the highlights are experimental support for both M-powered subgraphs and the SQL query interface. There's also optimizations to RPC request compression towards the async star, which improves the scenario regarding database logs, and really a very wide array of minor fixes, medium fixes, and it's very nice to see such an active development cycle on GraphNode. Regarding those, that's it for this week. So I'm handing off to as usual.
Thanks, Carlos. Okay, getting into Protocol Watch, it's going to be a short one. No new updates for governance or research. For the contracts repository, we do have a few updates. Some of them are just core dependencies bumps, but there are a few PRs for mostly management for rewards eligibility Oracle, like adding the contract address or enabling the dashboard, as well as some PRs were closed for the indexing payments stuff. That's pretty much it. There's no new updates for network subgraphs either, so I'm handing over to 𝗨𝗂𝗟𝗶 now.
Well, that was pretty quick in terms of updates. Good to see everything is going smoothly. Okay, cool. We have Miguel, who's here from Edgenode, to tell us about some indexer agent updates. So feel free to take it away.
All right. Okay, so you can see that, yes. Okay, so yeah, so my teammates Rem and Samuel have, I think, already talked about some of the deep changes that are coming, and I'm here to talk a little bit of what I've been working on in the indexer agent and some of the things that will change when we deploy dips. So this is pretty much still in development. So again, this is what I've been working on, but it's not the final version. So we'll share that when we have everything prepared and reviewed. But I just wanted to give an update because some pretty big changes are coming. So yeah, everyone's aware, and also hear your thoughts and suggestions as well. All right, so what's changing is we're introducing the recurring payment agreements, so this will have some definitions regarding how much each of the agreements is going to be for. And I think, yeah, Samuel already presented some of that. That's not the main point of this talk. So a little bit of the agreement lifecycle and also introducing the indexer agent. So, okay, so we have a proposal and indexer service or indexer RS as spelled there. Is the one that's gonna validate and like have the upfront of what are the like parameters for you to accept the agreement, and then whenever the indexer RS makes the decision that it's going to accept a proposal from the payer, then it sends via Postgres database that it's a new database I think we're creating, and it will send like an action to the indexer agent to pick up. So this is pretty much similar to how other flows work, but it's just introducing a new section, I guess. And then the indexer agent will like automatically create an allocation if needed. I'll just talk a little bit more about that next. And then it will go on chain and accept the agreement for for that allocation, and then start introducing like presenting POIs and continuous collecting RAFs and collecting from the DIPS agreement. And this is also like what's changing, so I'll dive deep into that now. So as part of the on-chain acceptance, like we need, DIPS also needs like an allocation for the agreement. And so we are reusing the existing allocation that you already have for that subgraph. But then it could be that you are accepting an agreement for a subgraph that you don't have an allocation for. And so what happens there is we sort of have like two paths. We still have a list of like chains that receive rewards and a list of chains that don't receive rewards. So depending on the chain or the subgraph, I guess, also because rewards are also tied to some specific subgraph features. So you could have subgraphs in Arbitrum that also don't get rewards. So depending on whether the subgraph receive rewards or not, we sort of follow like two different paths. And then if the subgraph will receive rewards, then we'll create an allocation using the default allocation amount. But if the subgraph doesn't have rewards, then we introduce a new parameter called the DIPS allocation amount, which by default is set to 0, and we recommend using 0. What this means is like you will allocate 0 tokens for that deployment, and this is good because the allocation like with 0 tokens is what we call an altruistic allocation, meaning that this allocation cannot be force closed if it becomes stale. So basically, you don't need to present POIs via like the indexing rewards collection mechanism, since we already know that subgraph won't be getting any rewards. So it's just like easier to maintain, because otherwise, if you don't present POIs via the indexing rewards collection, then your allocation could become stale. So anyone could go and force close your allocation, and force closing the allocation where you had an agreement on means that that agreement will be cancelled. Okay, so hope I'm explaining it correctly. If not, feel free to ask any questions. And then the way that we check if the subgraph is receiving rewards or not is we just go to the rewards manager. And again, like we're using the default amount allocation because this is also something that I'll talk in a bit, but allocations are, DIPS allocations are, or better said, DIPS agreements will run in like an auto mode, even if you are running the indexer agent in manual mode, because we need to respond to the DIPS agreement in a timely manner, else the agreement would expire. So we're using the default allocation amount, but then you can use the resize allocation to update to your desired amount of tokens. Okay, so, and because of this, we're introducing long-lived allocations. So before we upgraded the protocol to Horizon, allocations were like, how we call them now is short-lived. So allocations lasted for like the max, or like could last for the max epochs amount, and then for you to go and collect indexing rewards, you would close the allocation and then reopen the allocation. And that's why we had like a step in the indexer agent called reallocate. But since we've upgraded to Horizon, we've introduced long-lived allocations, meaning that you don't have to close the allocation to collect indexing rewards. And by collecting indexing rewards, you keep the allocation fresh. So you could open the allocation, and you shouldn't need to close it. But some of the mechanisms for the indexer agent were still relying on that close or the reallocate step. So for I don't know, scope reasons, when we made the changes to upgrade for Horizon, we just kept that life cycle. But this is a problem for DIPS agreements, because obviously if you have an agreement with an allocation that you're also collecting indexing rewards, then we need to prevent that step where you close the allocation and reopen it, because like I mentioned before, closing the allocation means you cancel the agreement. Okay, so so one of the changes I introduced is removing that reallocation step. So now allocations, they won't be closed, at least in auto mode. But I'm also like removing the reallocate command from the CLI, because it just makes no sense now with how Horizon allocations are set up. Okay, and then I also added like a small protection for allocations that have an active agreement on. So if you are closing the allocation, we just protect that close, and then if you still want to close because you want to also cancel the agreement, then you just send force equals to true. And then so rewards are claimed via the present POI command, which is something that's already been released. I think Samuel did that change, and as part of the last indexer agent released, that command is available. So if you're running in manual mode, you could already be collecting rewards via the present POI and not do the reallocation step. Okay, so the present POI it follows the allocation lifetime in epochs as the previous reallocate cycle. So whenever the reconciliation loop runs and it detects that it needs to go on, well, previously it was reallocate, now it's present a POI. It just goes present POI, and you collect payment. So the result is that the allocation is left open instead of closing and having a new allocation. And then this again reset the staleness counter, so you maintain the allocation fresh. So then continuous wrap collection. This is also something that I had to introduce, because before RAB collection was tied to allocations being closed. So so I think the indexer service would detect if the allocation was closed, and then it would set this last boolean to true, and then the indexer agent would pick that up and only go and collect the RAB when the allocation was closed. So obviously this is another thing that we need to change because we are keeping allocations open. I removed the filter for last true, and now all non-finalized RAGs are eligible for go and collect. And the same thing as presenting POIs, like this runs, I introduced a new parameter for, like, we already have the parameter setting the like the how do you call it? The default of the tokens that you need to collect for the RAG, meaning that you don't want to go and collect like very small amounts. So you have like a threshold, and once it's over the threshold, then means the RAG is eligible for go and collect from the engine. But we also want to introduce an interval because you don't want to go on frequently collect graphs if you can wait and go and collect everything at once. I've set the default to 4 hours, but maybe we can, I think we can bump that a bit more. But again, this is something that you can configure when you are running the agent and set it to whatever values makes more sense to you. But this is sort of similar to what I was mentioning before. Like we're introducing like this new continuous collection, so we don't have to wait for allocations being closed. But if the allocation is closed, then we left that unchanged. So once the allocation is closed, we know we won't be getting any more receipts for that allocation. So the last generated RAB would be final, and once we detect that, then we go and collect that that RAB. And then this is a new collection that we're introducing for the agreements. So once you accept an agreement and you're working along this recurring agreement, then we introduce a new collection flow. And so the agreements will have two parameters, right? Mean seconds per collection and max seconds per collection. So this means that you have a window to go and collect payment for this agreement. Worth to mention something that I believe Ren might talk about this later, but even if we have a max seconds per collection, doesn't mean that if you go and collect after max seconds per collection elapsed, it's not that you're gonna lose all that payment, but the payment will be capped at this max seconds per collection parameter. But still, regularly, you would want to collect in between this window. So again, I introduce a new parameter, the dips collection target. I set the default to 50%, but again, everything is work in progress, so this might change. But this just means that for that window, I just grabbed the split in between, and I went and set the collection rate to that step. Collection example, like if the mean is 1 hour and the maximum is 24 hours, if we set the 50%, means that we're gonna go and collect at 12.5 hours. All right, so this is what I was mentioning in the beginning, the manual mode compatibility, because DIPS agreements should be responded in a timely manner. So it's not that you get offered an agreement and you can take whatever time you want to agree to accept the agreement. We we want like users that are deploying subgraphs to get their subgraphs syncing as fast as we can. So the agreements will have like a sort of like a short expiry window. So we need to answer like accept those agreements in a timely manner. So that's why the DIPS allocation, creation, and agreements are running like, even if you're running the agent in manual mode, this will still run in automatic mode. So you, of course, will have to enable DIPS if you want to. If you don't want to, then you won't be getting the agreements. But if you are running in with DIP modes enabled, then the agreements will be based on the parameters and the configurations that you set, but the agreements will be handled automatically. Okay, so this is the new configurations parameter that I mentioned. So this is the enable dips. Right now the default is false, but again, this might change. Dips allocation amount, default 0. This is what I was mentioning, that this is what we're going to use for allocations that won't be getting indexing rewards. So we'll set an allocation amount of 0. So we don't have to worry about presenting POIs like via the indexer, the indexing rewards collection mechanism. And then we won't have any risk for anyone to force close our allocation. The default is 0. You can change that to something that's not 0, but I suggest that you leave it at 0. We'll probably add like Y in the documentation. And then the dips collection target, again, this is a percentage in the dip collection window, and the wrap collection interval currently set to 4 hours, but we still haven't discussed what time we want to set that. Like as default, obviously, you can configure this to your liking. Glance like the difference between the current agent with dips, allocation, lifespan are finite and recycled. We're changing these to long-lived. Rewards are only claimed at close, and here we're presenting periodic POIs. I mean, this is, sorry, I forgot to mention that I just made these slides with Claude before the meeting, so this is a bit, I don't know, like it's periodic POI presentation. I mean, in terms of the implementation, this will be presented at the same life cycle that is currently running. It's just that the matter that we won't be closing and reopening the allocation. And then wrap collection, yes, it's only at close, and now we can collect continuously every 4 hours. Again, depends on what configuration you set. But then the on-chain transaction frequency, again, this was maybe Claude being too optimistic. This will depend of how you want to configure your indexer agent. But the good thing is that we are avoiding that close and reopening allocation, which is like a big change, I think. And then after this we'll have our new revenue streams, which will be dips. I think this is all. Sorry, I think I took a bit more time than I was initially thought, but I don't know if I think there were questions in the chat, but I may have skipped those.
There's quite a few, yeah. Do you want to? I labeled as many of them as I saw, so you can just scroll through and see the question marks and respond to them.
Yeah. Okay, so can we still get query fees with allocation size at 0? Yes. So allocation size, like only matters for collecting indexing rewards, like the amount of tokens that you allocate to for a subgraph. So yeah, you can still go and collect query fees with an allocation size at 0. What's the expected delay? We'll have to accept agreements. I don't know much in terms of the. I don't think we have discussed this, but probably Samuel might be better target to answer that questions. DIPS agreement, smart contracts, will user have the ability to set up?
So in terms of the delay to accept agreements, it might be reasonably relaxed initially, but we are, of course, trying to get to a state where the network becomes responsive. But we're probably going to be helping the indexer stack help you achieve a responsive setup. You should probably be targeting automatic eventually, even if not initially configured that way.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. I don't think I understand this question. No, DIPS agreements, smart contracts. Will user have ability to set up on UI where billing lives? Oh, right. So, yeah, I don't know, Rem, do you want to talk about like how these agreements are gonna be paid?
So the way we're setting it up is, of course, it's set up with the protocol actually paying for the indexing on the behalf of the protocol. It's kind of a counterpart of indexing rewards, right? An alternative to indexing rewards. So if this question is more generally about if someone else can set up an agreement and someone else can set up an agreement, we've not at this stage planned any specific user interface to help facilitate that. We're just focusing really on getting on all of our systems, the protocol needs itself working. If there was big demand for this, then yeah, it might happen, but it's not something we're working on right now. I hope that answers
Thanks.
the question, if I understood it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, like in terms of UI, yeah, so we're like, at least on this first iteration, we're not, yeah, focusing on users paying via the UI, yeah, only the indexing reward, like the issuance. So are query fees also paid on providing POI or only closing the right? Yeah. So I think I mentioned this. Yeah, like query fees. Yeah. You won't be needing to close the allocation to collect query fees. You will be able to collect those continuously too. Other questions. If it wasn't part of the design yet, it would be useful to have a minimum amount in addition to the 4-hour cooldown. Yeah, so like my thoughts about this was like we already like we can introduce also an amount. Should be easy. So if there's a feeling that we want to do that, then I can introduce it. My thought was like this was already covered by the other, like the RAP generation stream, I think. So like when you're aggregating your receipts, you already set up, I believe that you already set up an amount, but maybe I'm wrong. So yeah, I don't have this in the indexer agent code, but I'll have a look, and if it makes sense, I'll introduce it. But I was sort of relying on the fact that we are only aggregating the receipts, I believe, after they were over as configured amount. But again, I could be wrong. I don't know if could we have a third-party agent sending manual commands to the indexer agent to accept agreements? The use case I have in mind is having custom rules for agreement decisions. I need to get them. Yeah, so I guess Rem already talked a little bit about the expiry. So the idea is to have this respond in a timely manner, and the users can see their subgraph indexing shortly after they deploy. So if we feel that there's a need for a manual command, then we can introduce it later. Well, it's not in the plans, at least for the first version. But yeah, because I think my reasoning was that once the agreement gets to the indexer agent, then you already passed all the filters of what sort of agreements you want to accept or not, right? So you already set a price and a supported chain. So at the point that you got to the indexer agent, then we just accept it automatically. So there's no CLI command for that. Fixing. Yeah, so I think those are most of the questions. Let me know if anything.
I see Marc Andre is typing, so maybe there's something else coming.
All right.
Yeah, well, maybe I could jump on the microphone instead of typing.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so the whole reason I'm asking about manual commands or third-party agent and stuff is because basically, or just today, it's probably only because I haven't seen the design yet. I'm a bit suspicious of the ability of indexer agent having the flexibility that I'll want on making the agreement decisions. As we go, maybe I'll need to add some additional filters. Maybe for some chains, I'll accept a lower payment amount. Maybe for other chains, I'll want to instead setting a different level. I don't know yet, but I'd like to make sure that we have the possibility to basically override the indexer agent rules and decisions, and making sure that if necessary, we can implement our own rules.
Yeah, so yeah. So someone's already commenting a bit about that, but again, as far as the indexer agent, it won't be making it won't have the configuration for deciding what agreements to accept and what not. That would be part of the indexer service stack. So when something gets to the indexer agent, then it just meant that there were already configured amounts, or configure a special configuration where the agreement was already sort of marked as accepted, right? So it wasn't accepted on chain, but it was already past the the configurations onto what to accept and what not. The indexer agent is just like going and accepting the agreement on chain, but it's not. We don't have anything in the agent configuration where like it would just not accept an agreement, right? So we just treat everything that gets to that point as something that we want to go and action on chain. So that's why like I didn't introduce anything to CLI or the manual mode.
Okay. We'll see. Maybe I don't know. We'll see if indexers will be willing to accept the rules in place. I think Matthew came up with another example, like what if we just accepted a bunch of agreements and right now our indexers are loaded or database is overloaded. Maybe we'll want to have some, well, maybe for a while, maybe for the next hour or so, we'll stop accepting the agreement so we can finish digesting what we just agreed to, right? That would be an example. Maybe eventually I understand if we want to make a on-chain commitment, we want to have a reasonable expectation that it will be accepted. I understand that we don't want to waste gas and resources to do that. But maybe eventually we'll need to get to a point where we should have some like pre-agreement in place. Like, I don't know, indexers have a API endpoint and the payers send a pre-proposal or something like, okay, would it look good? This is something that you're a reasonable reason to accept or not, and if so, it goes on chain and things get finalized there.
Yeah, that's good feedback. Like we might have to introduce like some some configurations or some like CLI commands for I don't know having like special actions in the agent. But again, like I think this is also stuff that should be a part of the, like, at least for like new agreements. Then you can like, I guess I don't know if we have this, but you should be able to like post or have some way of stop accepting agreements. But my feeling is that that should be part of the indexer service stack, because like the point also here is that like we don't want to, the users that are deploying subgraph, they just want to get their subgraph indexed as fast as they can. And if we add that rejecting step in the agent, is like the last piece of all the chain. So like it will take like a long time, like relatively long time until it gets there. So if we know that we're gonna be like not accepting that agreement, then we should do it as soon as we can in the chain. So the deeper can go and offer the agreement to another indexer instead of having to wait for like just the agent not accepting the agreement and it being expired, whatever. Right, I'm gonna stop sharing, but if there's more questions, I can answer in the chat.
Yeah, maybe a follow-up from Marc-Andre and what was just said there, Miguel, and then there's also a chat between Ram and Matthew that's quite interesting that maybe could be interesting to follow up on by voice. But yeah, any thoughts, Marc-Andre?
Well, I understand. I think the intentions here, and we want to, and I understand that for a user experience thing, we want to make things very straightforward, and obviously would be much easier if your indexer run the exact same rules. But yeah, I'm not convinced that is going to work. That for everyone. We'll have to see. We'll have to try, and I'm all for trying small scale with simple rules, and we'll see from there. But we wouldn't want to be in situations where indexers start disabling dips because that messes up their setup, or it takes too much resources, or they don't agree with the decisions that the indexer agent made on their behalf. So I think we have to be careful here.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's fair. Maybe Miguel, you want to touch on that?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Like this, also like why we are presenting here, like just to have the indexers feedback, and obviously, like yeah, we do want to give the options to give the option to indexers, whether like yeah, like they should be able to manage their stack, and like also yeah, not be bombarded with like agreements. So yeah, we'll think about how we can I guess add protection.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad this discussion is being had now between everyone. So good to hear things are being figured out. It seems like a similar thread was happening in the chat there with Rem and Matthew, which is quite interesting. Rem, I know we had another segment scheduled for you today, but obviously this topic was very important and took a lot of back and forth, which as it should do. It's a pretty big paradigm shift. Indexes are currently in full control of the indexing decisions, with dips it's expected to give control to Dipper. Yeah, obviously very interesting stuff, and so maybe Rem, a quick decision, even if it's not in time. A quick decision, even if it's not at this time, can help the system. Okay, yeah. Do you want to elaborate there?
Yeah, I'm just saying, if you know that if there's some way you can detect that your system that you don't want another indexing agreement, that can actually be, it's not quite as good as saying yes, but it can help the system know, okay, so I gave this to 3 indexers and they all said no, I need to pick another one, can help the system roll over and find the indexes that are ready at this stage. And yes, I think it's a key point you're making, Matthew. It means not at this time, right? It doesn't mean I don't want indexing agreements. It's at the moment I'm busy with the ones I've got.
Any thoughts on that, Matthew? Yeah, it seems like there's agreement there, and as you've been saying, it could be chain specific, which is great. Good, but not on Polygon. Never Polygon. Never. This is hilarious.
So Samuel, we're going to roll out Polygon first, aren't we? No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. That's the plan. So, Brem, I know you wanted to have a section, but I want to give you the necessary time to go through all the stuff you wanted to go through today. Sorry, I wanted to give you all the necessary time to go through all the things you wanted to go through, so I think it makes sense to reschedule for next week. But is there anything you want to do in terms of like collect feedback or thoughts ahead of next week's session in relation to what you're going to discuss?
Yes, I definitely agree. It doesn't make sense to start a session in the last with 5 minutes to go. If there's anyone, it's a good point. If anyone thinks, oh, I wish Rem had answered this or whatever, by all means put it in the chat and I'll think about, see if I can prepare for it next time. I don't think it can be next week actually, but maybe the week after.
Are you not free next week?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll figure out a schedule with you then. Yeah, if it's not next week, then the week after. I mean, speaking of which, maybe you want to talk a bit about Tycho. I did respond to your message in Slack, Juan, about like a general introduction. Maybe it might be a good idea to kind of get people's thoughts on what you'd like to hear if we were to do a session on Tycho. A lot of people probably have some thoughts. I know Slim, you had some thoughts as well, so maybe you can chime in on direction for the session. I also discussed, I think, with Petco as well. So if anyone has any, I can do an intro session for about 10. Okay, nice, awesome. Next time maybe, yeah. Are you free next week, Petco? Okay, perfect. So then maybe we can do that. Anything people want to hear in terms of Tycho? Yeah, would love to hear people's perspectives on what people would like to hear about on that topic. Just gonna pull up. Where are we? Okay, don't know anything about it, so start from the basics. And then if there's more questions, we can double down on another session at some point after that. Perfect, amazing. Okay, and now that we've moved the calendar over to my workspace, I can see my name is on next week's session. Yeah, we'll start from the ABC of Tycho. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, thanks for posting link there, Juan, just so people get like a rundown. Any questions aside from the slick aesthetic? Yeah, the aesthetics are pretty cool. I'm a big fan. I think the website's really slick. It is really, really cool. Okay, people looking like, it sounds like people want like a rundown. Slim, I saw you unmuted there. Do you want to chime in? We are trying to make it. Okay, cool. Fair enough. Thanks for no, Marc-Andre, this is great. Questions are more than welcome. This is the space to do it. So we appreciate you going to detail and asking your questions. I'm sure a lot of people had similar questions to you as well. So it's good to go through. Since Petco's here, what's the roadmap for Lodestar? Any thoughts on that, Petco? Also, yeah, Matthew had some great words for you there earlier in today's conversation, just giving you some praise on the Explorer updates. So yeah, Petco, any thoughts on the roadmap there?
Well, I mean, it's a purely community project, and by community I mean myself, and but also like I appreciate everyone giving feedback and sharing ideas. It's been really helpful to make it better. The roadmap is whatever you guys need, like delegators, indexers. I want this tool to be as helpful as possible. So I am more than welcome to. I'm more than welcome. Everyone is more than welcome to leave feedback on GitHub issues or DM me. But I can, because I mean, honestly, I don't have any specific like next items because everything that I wanted to be in the dashboard that I considered like the most important things is already there. So now I'm just trying to make sure everything works fine and works fast. And for future features, I am always welcome for suggestions.
I guess thanks for that. I guess I have a follow-up question for Polly, because Polly's created a bunch of dashboards. So does the new Lodestar include all the features that you've built on various different tools? can we consolidate on a tool set?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can share it with you can share it, see if you can incorporate it.
I want to add all the features. All right. Well, if that's the roadmap, then we'll send. I just didn't want to annoy you with a million requests. Now you've asked for it, so.
I love it. Love to see. There's the place to do this stuff. Okay, we got someone coming in from Josh. And Pekka's writing it down. Love it. Amazing. Okay. Oh, signal seems to have dropped. Am I still there? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. Perfect. Well, sounds like we've got a plan. Petco's kindly stepped in to help on the front of Tycho, so maybe we'll discuss that. We'll discuss that next week for sure. And we'll also have Rem on next week as well. We'll do Rem first because obviously we wanted to get that done today. Sorry, no, you're away to next week. The week after. There you go. Let me just actually adjust the calendar before we move on. So that that's accounted for. Okay, 7th. Okay, locked in. Okay, wonderful. Well, as always, thanks everyone for joining for another edition of Indexer Office Hours. This one was great. This is what. Please keep in mind the presentation 15 max. So probably add something else too. Yes, of course. Thank you for flagging that, Petco. I will try and schedule something else in as well, so that we can cover the full hour. This is what IOH is for. 15 minutes of questions. Maybe because it's new, we might want to earmark roughly about that amount of time. So I'll try and get 2 segments in for next week, one of which is Tycho. This was great. Thank you so much for Marc-Andre, Miguel, Gemma, everyone who got involved in today's conversation. And maybe even more than 15, who knows. Thank you all for getting involved in today's conversation. It's very important that we open up the space for these chats, so I'm glad we managed to sync and figure stuff out. We'll be back again same time next week for another edition of Indexer Office Hours, where we'll be going into more topics, Tycho, next week. Okay, everyone, have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.